So when it's cold, we put on more layers. And when it's hot, we take them off. Or hotter. Or hotter. Hotter still. No more. You see, we can do something about the hot weather. But what about hot dogs? Not hot dogs. Hot dogs. Dogs that are hot. Well, I don't know a lot about it, but I know somebody who does.
So I'm Lucy Cull and I work at Wolverley Animal Centre, which is in Kidderminster, and we look after a variety of animals, and I've also got my own dog, Barney. So it's really important in the hot weather that when you exercise your dog, you should always be early in the morning, as early as you can wake up, and then or in the evening, or both if it's a dog that has 2 walks. Midday is just way too hot for them and they're not going to enjoy it, and neither are you if it's too hot. So in really hot temperatures like today, where it's about 27 degrees, sometimes your dog might get really dehydrated. So some of the signs of dehydration might be they're lethargic, they're panting a lot, they don't want to get up and eat or drink, and sometimes as well you can see that their gums get a little bit pale and their tongue might hang out and their tongue be pale as well. So it's really important that you address that if you see any of those signs in your dog. So of course it's not just when you're out walking your dog that you need to keep them cool. If they're only having a walk in the morning and the evening, you need to keep them cool throughout the whole of the day. So a few things you could do, provide them with fans as long as they're safely somewhere that they're not catching them. You could lie down a wet damp towel on the floor, they might go and lie on that. You could even freeze bottles of ice water or pop bottles full of water, lay them down next to their bed and they might benefit a little bit from that. Or something that I do for my dog is I get small towels, twist them up and freeze them in the freezer. They're nice and damp, and then they come out kind of a little bit like an ice cube toy that he'll chew on. And I put some ice in his water as well. But the main thing would be just to provide him with shade, whether he's inside or he's gone out into the garden as well. So in this really hot weather, the stories that you see on the news and on all your social media is about dogs being left in hot cars, and the police have had to come along and smash the window and get them out because they've shown all those signs of dehydration. So my advice would be just don't do it. Don't take your dog out, especially in this weather, in the car. Leave them at home if you can, or if you really need to go out, see if there's a friend that would just look after them while you pop to the shop. But having the window open only a small bit, it's still the sunlight's gonna come through and the car's just gonna get really hot. Try it yourself, sit in the car and leave the window open a little bit and see how quickly it gets really hot, even if you're parked in a shady spot. So please don't take your dog out in the car in this weather. So us humans, when we go out, we can put sun cream on, we can put our hats on, our sunglasses. So we need to think about the dogs when they're going out in the sun. The first thing that I would do is check the floor. When the floor gets really hot, especially pavements and paths that you're walking on, the floor is going to get really hot and it can really burn the dog's feet. So if you go outside and put your hand on the pavement and you can't hold it there for more than 3 or 5 seconds and your hand's really hot, that's really going to burn the dog's feet and you shouldn't take them out on the pavement. If you really need to walk them at that time, try a grassy area or a shaded grassy area or a shaded woodland area to protect the dog's feet. If you've got a short-haired dog, just make sure if they've got kind of little bits of skin on their ears showing where they don't have much hair, you can put a little bit of sun cream on them, or just mainly try and keep them in the shade and walk them at cooler times, morning and the evening, where the pavement isn't really hot. So in the summertime, barbecues are really popular. I like having barbecues in the summertime, so it's really important just to keep your dog safe around the barbecue, especially if they're a food orientated dog like my dog is. He'll want to come up and sniff and see if there's any sausages for grabs. So just make sure they're really safe, that they're not going to burn themselves, especially if you've got one that you're putting on the floor, one of those disposable ones that isn't particularly really high up. Just make sure that you keep your dog safe around those and they don't get burnt in the summertime. So I work with a variety of animals in my job, and a lot of my past couple of weeks in this hot weather has been trying to keep them all cool. A couple of the animals are cats and rabbits, which are also really popular pets. So always just make sure you provide them with lots of cool, clean water bowls so they'll want to drink out of the water. Give them options. If you've got multiple animals, make sure that the animal that isn't maybe as dominant and in charge isn't keeping the other animals away from that water. So give them lots of different options of water. Rabbits and even cats, you can freeze ice bottles of water, pop bottles of water, and lay them around where they like to lie, and they'll benefit from being cool from that. Give them lots of fans and lots of shade, and just make sure that they're staying nice and hydrated in this weather, not just your dogs at home.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Barney. And now you all know how to keep your animals nice and cool this summer. I'll just finish this.